Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Manifesting Money. Today we are doing our end of the month recap for January. So we're going to go through our sinking funds, the debt that we paid off, and where our numbers are at for the month. So we're going to go through all those worksheets. I already got all those numbers together, so we're just going to do a quick review, so we can, see where we're at and make plans for the future. So stay tuned. We're going to get into it. Okay, so here we are in my 2025 savings and debt notebook that I have in Noteful. So the very first thing that I've got through is my annual spending tracker. So I went through and added up all the totals from all the categories. I included any spending that I did on credit cards because I wanted that to be reflected in the totals so that I had a better picture of spending, because that money doesn't just go nowhere. So any categories that were in red, I was over. Black, I was at or under. And then I have a few of these that I have in green. So my investments, my savings, and my debt. If they're green, that means I put more into those than I had initially planned on. So even though the number is higher than the budget, it's a good higher. So unfortunately, I knew this was going to look like this because I know I had a lot of spending in January. So moving forward, we're going to tighten it up. We're going to do better. And we're going to either make sure that that money is budgeted or that we're not overspending. So the next page that I have, this is just for the second half of the year. My credit score stayed exactly the same, so no big changes there. Next up, I started my monthly debt payment progress sheets. I didn't do anything with the payments, and I didn't fill this part out because I kind of feel like I'm starting over with this because I've paid off the Discover card and the car payment, but I've added the HELOC on there. So now for my debt, I was just tracking consumer debt, but since most of that is gone and I do have a lot of long-term debt, I'm going to start tracking that in my debt payment progress. So I've got my total. So this is it rounded up. So that this is where we're starting with our new debt amount. So going forward, I'll be able to track the balances, any extra payments that I've made, and then we'll be able to do math and see our progress here. So I have the setup for the next couple months. I fill out my totals at the end of the month. So any additional payments that I make is reflected in the month. So I also have March ready to go, and this number is always going to stay the same. The rest of these numbers will change. And then I reset my debt going down tracker so that I can better reflect the amount that I owe with the mortgage, the HELOC, and my student loan. So this is my short-term and long-term debt now showed here. So I've got my first little doot just to show where we're starting. Next up, I updated my short-term debt tracker, which is just the Capital One card. And then I also have my updated pages for the HELOC, the mortgage, and my student loan. I got my totals for my investments going up, and I wanted to show you how I will make my charts filled in Noteful. So I grab the pen tool, I pick the color that I want. We're going to go with a nice green, and I will just draw a random shape, more random than that. Oh. Okay, so if it's not symmetrical, it's going to give you a shape that looks like this with the 4 points. I click on style, I'm going to fill it in solid, and I'm going to turn the opacity down to about 50%. What this does is now it's going to act like a highlighter. So what I can do, and I will do this just because I like the visual, so I'm going to take my little nodes, line them up, and now I have that. So I'm going to go in and just add the line too, because I think it looks nice. You can just hold it, it makes a nice clean line. And then next month, what I can do is I'll just go in and duplicate this, and then I can adjust the points to reflect, more growth and things like that. So that's how I do that in Noteful. And then next I updated all of my sinking funds totals. So I went through all of my envelopes, added up what I have, got the total for the account, and then compared to the actual account total. And I'm going to consider this a match because I round down for the actual amounts. So the account has about 450 in it. I should have about 449. That's a match. So every month at the end of the month, I will do that. And then I have the individual pages here where I can show what I started with, what I've added, and then any withdrawals. So this shows that the Q1 water is paid, and I went and did that for all of my sinking funds. So they're all updated here. I have my emergency fund tracker. We didn't put anything into that. My savings challenge, we did put our $3 in, so that's reflected there. And then as far as my net worth, I'm only doing that every 3 months, or I'm only doing that quarterly. So yeah, every 3 months. So we won't worry about that again until August. And then I've got my April. Goodness. So I won't worry about that again until April. So that's where we're at. So it's not a lot of progress to start with because I am kind of starting over as far as like debt payment goes. But I am excited to see where we can get with this, especially having that consumer debt gone, the lower interest rate and things like that. One thing I wanted to show you, because I know y'all saw me struggling with my water sinking funds because I do split those up quarterly. So I was looking on Etsy and was trying to find like personalized individual whatevers, and then remembered that I have a Cricut and a can-do attitude. So what I did was I made these divider tabs for the water folder. So now in here, in this one envelope, I've got a section for Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. So I can keep track of those individually, keep it all together. So, yeah, I could have used a different color, but I do love that little holographic. Oh, she's so pretty. So that's where we're at. How is January looking for y'all? Did it turn out okay? Did you have any surprises, any big wins? Let me know where you're at. If you have any budgeting challenges, if you have any successes, I want to cheer you on. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of progress we can make in February. So stay tuned and we'll be getting into it and going through everything throughout the month. I'll probably see you again in a couple weeks when we get our first official paycheck in February. Thank you.